The Australian landscape has long been a source of inspiration for artists. At this year's Dark MoFo festival, usually centred on Hobart, guests had the opportunity to take a road trip into the heart of the island's wilderness. There they discovered artist Ash Keating's visual response to the landscape of Tasmania. And fuelled by food and art, guests were encouraged by artist group The Unconscious Collective to tap into their untamed selves within the confines of the Cradle Mountain National Park. Artist Ash Keating has been reimagining the textures of our urban surroundings for most of his career, creating large-scale murals on the side of buildings using paint-filled fire extinguishers. As part of the Wild at Heart excursion, Ash has been invited to interpret the Tasmanian wilderness by the Unconscious Collective. After a research trip to Tasmania, Ash painted 8 large panels in his Melbourne studio, then freighted the artwork to Hobart and embarked on a road trip that took him 4.5 hours out of the city to Cradle Mountain National Park, where he installed the work in the Wilderness Gallery. Days later, the Wild at Heart guests followed.
Road trips, traditionally in literature and the movies, they've been about getting away and freedom from civilization, so that idea kind of seemed to fit pretty well with the concept. Plus, road trips are fun.
The road trip wound past Tasmania's quiet rural towns. The destination was a hotel that had been transformed into a camping site. This is my specially curated hotel room for the night that includes such oddities as a wombat tail sculpture, a campfire television set, and a teepee tent set up over my bed. It's certainly going to make for an interesting night's sleep, and hopefully I'll get a little bit more in touch with my wild side. Give me some time. Oh, give me the chance to come and love you. The centrepiece of the stay is Ash Keating's exhibition Remote Nature Response, a brooding reminder about the harsh but beautiful landscape that surrounds us during our stay.
The content of the work is an abstract and minimal interpretation of the cold and the foggy weather up here at the mountain around this time of year.
It's just as if you were looking at the mountain with cloud and that feeling you can get in the Tasmanian mountains at any time of being lost in time and space.
Traditional landscape painting was about capturing, whereas Ash's work, it doesn't try to capture it. It kind of responds to it, it's in harmony with it, it evokes it.
After a hike through the type of weather captured in Keating's paintings, the trip ends with a banquet and pagan ceremony led by performers and dancers dressed in animalistic costumes.
We wanted to get wild animals from Tasmania to eat. This is a bit of a comment on how the wilderness is consumed through certain tourism sort of ideas of resorts and that sort of thing, where it's about consumerism. We're also interested in putting Ross O'Mara together with Bomson Parr and their kind of theatrical take, but his idea of hunting and cooking the foods.
The food, the environment, the way everything's set up, it's getting everyone back to basics and just getting them to look at what we're eating and also how we're eating it.
We're all animals living in society. In some ways, we tend to forget that.